As the leaves turn and the air gets crisp, it is time for some serious action. Bet on Lord football, from heart-pounding college rivalries to the bone-crushing NFL matchups. But that's not all. The ice is getting cold and the courts are heating up. Get in on the NHL face-off and NBA tip-offs as both leagues kick off their seasons. And if you want to get really nuts, bet on the election. Won't that be fun? If you've been waiting for the right time to get in, the time is now. Make your winning move today. Sign up at mybookie.ag. Use promo code ZABE, Charlie, Zulu, Alpha, Bravo, Echo, to be eligible for all promotions. Once again, promo code ZABE to get in on the sweet action. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. You know, when you give someone a gift, you want them to enjoy it immediately. No complicated setup, batteries required, assembly, things that make people frustrated. There's so many reasons to love Aura digital frames. But honestly, what might be my favorite are these three words: no assembly required. You start by downloading the Aura app for free, which takes no time to get the frame ready. And then you can preset the Wi-Fi in the frame and upload pictures beforehand. So all the grandparents have to do is unbox it and plug it in. Super simple. It's such a great gift, even for the most tech-unsavvy people in your life. Save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off Aura's best-selling Carver matte frames by using promo code ZABE at checkout. That's Aura Frames, A-U-R-A frames.com, promo code Charlie, Zulu, Alpha, Bravo, Echo. This deal is exclusive to my listeners, so get yours now in time for the holidays. Terms and conditions apply. Today, plausibly live, it's the CzabeCast.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
Today's guest, sports radio lifer and DC Jewish Sports Hall of Famer, Andy Poland.
See?
And now, let's get to yakking.
Here we go.
Maybe the funniest thing I saw this week for the first time ever was that Family Guy did a shot-for-shot remake of that famous Bill O'Reilly rant. Fuck it, we'll do it live, but with Stewie instead. I'd never seen that before, and it was awesome. Today's CzabeCast is not, in fact, live. It's being recorded at 9:17 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8:15 Central Time. I'm in the Central Time right now, because today's slate of NFL games is so blockbuster. There's no way I'd be able to do this podcast after everything is done today. And there's too much other stuff to talk about, including, Andy, the Heisman Trophy from yesterday. That's the reason why you and I are doing it on a Sunday morning. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing good. There is a load of stuff out there to talk about. So as a talk show host yourself, you could probably look at the landscape and go, man, the content is falling from the skies right now, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, there's always something now, but at this time of year where all the sports come together, except, even baseball too, with the contract for Soto, there's everything coming together. You know?
Yeah, Heisman, Army-Navy game, Caitlyn Clark and Sheila Johnson's comments.
Yeah.
LeBron has gone missing. The NBA is openly rooting against its own teams to make their in-season tournament. I'll explain later on. And then, of course, there's a bunch of other stuff as well. But first of all, how you doing, my friend?
I'm fine. We're heading into the holiday season. I'm jovial. There's a sync up this year of Hanukkah and Christmas, which is unusual. So everybody's going to be celebrating at the same time. All good.
I was going to say, when does Hanukkah fall this year?
It's I've never seen it this late as far as I can remember, but the first night of Hanukkah is Christmas Day.
Get
Crazy.
Out.
Yeah.
And what is Hanukkah? What is the timing of it based on? Like, I know the celebration and what it represents, but the timing I'm not fully clued in on.
Well, the Hebrew calendar and the regular calendar are not synced up. That's why it shifts, year to year. The holiday is the celebration of the lights at the temple when they thought only enough oil for one night. It lasted 8 nights. Yes. It was a miracle. So they spread out Hanukkah over 8 nights. It is, on the landscape of the Jewish holidays, a very minor one. But because of Christmas, it's become over-commercialized, and we treat it as a big deal because it happens at the same time.
Let me see if this Goyim can get it right, okay? Number one is Rosh Hashanah. Number 2 is Yom Kippur.
No. Yom Kippur is the Super Bowl Sunday of Jewish holidays.
Yom Kippur 1, Rosh Hashanah 2, Hanukkah 17.
Yeah, somewhere in there. Right.
Way down there. Okay. All right, let's start with the Heisman Trophy, and it goes to Travis Hunter of the Colorado Buffaloes. Hunter went to a HBCU school to follow Deion Sanders for one reason and one reason alone. Deion said, I will let you play both ways in college, and I think you'll be great at it. And now look where the road has ended. This is a pretty cool story, and we've got to give full props, not only, of course, to Mr. Hunter himself, but Deion for being the one coach to say, sure, I will let you do this.
Yeah, and when he did it at Jackson State, some went, okay, well, that's Jackson State. But to have done it at this level, at this school for the last 2 years, remarkable. And I cannot believe that the voting was close. To me, this is the most slam dunk Heisman Trophy winner maybe I've ever seen. I mean, it's unbelievable.
The reason it's close is that Ashton Genty had 2,497 yards for a school that everyone knew you got to stop him. Just stop Ashton Genty, and you have a good chance to win. They could not stop him. Derrick Henry had fewer yards, won the Heisman. Ricky Williams, fewer yards, won the Heisman. Ron Dane, Reggie Bush, Mark Ingram, Heisman. So that's why I think the voting was close, Andy.
Well, okay, but I mean, he was a great corner and a great wide receiver,
right?
And to stay on the field for basically close to 60 minutes when the last guy to do this was back in 1960, Concrete Charlie. For the Philadelphia Eagles.
Chuck Bednarik played both ways in the NFL?
Well, he did it really for 1 year, and It was when the Eagles won the championship in 1960, and I believe he was a starting linebacker, and the center got hurt, so he just took that over, too. And he was late 30s, and he went both ways. But that was, 100 years ago. And also, he wasn't running as much as this guy's running on every play.
Yeah.
Crazy.
6th in receiving yards this year for Travis Hunter. He was 2nd in receiving touchdowns nationwide, by the way. This is not in his conference, nationwide. He was 17th in interceptions with 4, and they really didn't throw at him because he's that good. And he played 1,356 snaps, which ESPN's graphic listed him first as a stat. There are some who are saying snaps are not a stat. Where do you come down on that?
Look, Charles Woodson won the Heisman Trophy at Michigan in 97. He was primarily a defensive back who they used in some situations at wide receiver. This is a full-time wide receiver and a full-time cornerback. That's unheard of.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. Now, also, it's great that, Hunter is a really solid-looking kid in terms of his overall demeanor and makeup, and I only qualify that by saying he looks like he's a solid guy because we've all been fooled before, right, Andy? So
in
I don't
want to. Post-OJ world, you must qualify every one of those statements with seems like.
Seems like.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I use the post-RG3 world where I said RG3 was, quote, unnaturally mature, unquote, when he was a rookie with the Redskins, Andy. And I still am embarrassed for saying that because while RG3 may not be a bad guy per se, mature is not the right word there. So let's see the whole movie play out. But I like Travis Hunter and just the way he is. Seems like a special kid who's done something great. What I don't know, though, is the whole father angle, because every story says, he dedicated this, message to his dad. I'm going to play it for you here. I don't think you'll be able to hear it, Andy. Although maybe you will. Hold on a second.
Be able to make it, but I know you're watching on TV.
Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Okay, you can. Good.
All the stuff you went through, man. I look at your oldest son. I did it for you, man. All the times that you didn't get to see me. When the time you came to see my games. From not seeing probably 2 games in high school to seeing me on TV every weekend and coming to see me, man. That means so much to me. I know you wanted to be here and you can't. But trust me, I got you. I'm bringing the trophy home. I love you.
Now, I have not seen why his dad was not able to attend. Have you?
No, I did not.
How is that possible? How do we not know this story?
I don't know. I don't know.
Like, if his father was incarcerated, which unfortunately happens, you would think we would know about it, right?
Yeah.
If his father was sick in a hospital bed, you think we would know about it, right?
Right.
It's his business. It's his dad. I have no right to know, but it's kind of driving me crazy like an itchy sweater. My need to know is like, wait a minute, we're living in 2024. Like, you got to tell us, right? Tell us why he couldn't be there. Did he choose not to be there? Is he estranged from Travis Hunter's mom? And he's like, well, if that bitch is there, I ain't going. I don't know what it is, but it's like this was a huge moment. He obviously loves his father very, very much. And to think he couldn't be there, surely they would have flown him out at the Heisman's expense.
Oh, yeah. I don't want to speculate because I don't know. But I do know that the father influence you do worry about. Now, there was apparently a lot of overreaction to the Caleb Williams father thing with Bears, and that so far hasn't been a factor. Oh, yeah, because there was some comment like he might want part ownership of the team. Remember that? And, was he going to be difficult to deal with?
But not at but Caleb's dad was not a problem at the Heisman Trophy award ceremony, was he?
No.
Okay.
I'm just saying you're looking at dad influence and dad factor. I don't know, what goes on either way.
Yeah. I'm old enough to remember, speaking of two-way guys, Gordie Lockbaum of Holy Cross. Yes. That was in the mid-'80s, if I recall, Andy. And he was a bit player on a minor team, unlike Travis Hunter. Yeah. I mean, he was – it was Division I, but it was like barely 1AA. It was what they now call FCS, I believe. And I think he had a cup of coffee in the NFL. But this is a major prospect who is not going to be able to play both ways in the NFL. I think they'll use him in certain situations as a wide receiver, but to have done this at this level is remarkable. Well, wait a minute. I asked somebody what's he going to play in the pros, and they said wide receiver.
Yeah, I don't know.
Have you read what he is planning to play in the pros?
I don't, but I've been listening to Mel Kiper, who believes he'll be a defensive back who'll play some wide receiver.
Really?
Like Deion. Yeah. Deion actually didn't. The only time he really played significantly at wide receiver was when Michael Irvin was suspended for the White House. The playmaker was out.
Right, and the White House being not the place where the president sleeps.
No,
but the nickname for the drug den in Dallas.
Yeah, a lot of debauchery going on there for sure.
I'm looking at a story right now that says right now he wants to play both ways in the NFL.
Well, of course. And that is something that I would want to do, too, if I was him. But I don't think that's going to be realistic.
Why not?
Because
this wasn't realistic.
It wasn't realistic, but it's, I think, more realistic at the college level. The amount of work that goes in. And this is why some guys don't make the transition very well from college football to pro football, because it's a lot more complicated. There's a lot more things that go into it. And, I mean, do you want him to be a wide receiver who gets burned for a couple of touchdowns and they go, oh, yeah, he wasn't in the meeting room when they covered that. He was over with the wide receivers.
I don't know if that would be the case. I would love it if he is the NFL's Shohei Ohtani, an absolute freak that actually does both.
That's different. Apples and oranges with baseball. Come on, let's just be realistic.
Whoa! It's not that much apples and oranges.
It is. Come on.
Okay. Hold on. Let's dig into this.
Wait. Pitchers hit for like 100 years. Okay, we didn't have a designated hitter until 1973. So a guy who can hit and pitch.
Yeah, no. Pitchers carried bats to the plate for 100 years, and most of the time carried the bat right back to the dugout for 100 years, Andy.
Except there were a couple of guys like George Herman Ruth who actually did well on both things.
Yeah. That was 100 years ago. That's my point. It's so extremely rare. Like, Shohei Ohtani is so good at both, which is unprecedented since George Herman Ruth, Andy. That's what makes him so special. Travis Hunter, if he could be both Deion Sanders and Jerry Rice, would be equally, if not more, unprecedented. So don't you me on this.
The fatigue factor, I would think, in football is just a bit greater than in baseball, where there's a lot of scratching and spitting that goes on.
I know.
And occasionally you have to run the bases. But
I know.
It's nothing like football.
I know. Although he didn't play both at one. Well, he played both, I think, for a brief amount of time. Troy Brown of the Patriots was flipped to corner when they were really depleted of bodies.
Right, but he was not a primary receiver.
No.
I think he was like a third down receiver.
Right,
Man.
He was like WR3 or WR4. Anyway, it's a remarkable story. Good for him winning. Tough luck for Ashton Genty. Genty seems nice and grounded, so I don't think he's too distraught over this. He came real close, got a lot of votes. He's going to be a hell of an NFL player. And don't look now, Andy, but running back is getting sexy again in the NFL.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so. I realize that. Yeah, I think if Saquon breaks Dickerson's record, he's got to get consideration for MVP.
Yeah. As the leaves turn and the air gets crisp, it is time for some serious action. Bet on Lord football, from heart-pounding college rivalries to the bone-crushing NFL matchups. But that's not all. The ice is getting cold and the courts are heating up. Get in on the NHL face-off and NBA tip-offs as both leagues kick off their seasons. And if you want to get really nuts, bet on the election. Won't that be fun? If you've been waiting for the right time to get in, the time is now. Make your winning move today. Sign up at mybookie.ag. Use promo code ZABE, Charlie, Zulu, Alpha, Bravo, Echo, to be eligible for all promotions. Once again, promo code ZABE to get in on the sweet action. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. The World Series, Super Bowl, the Olympics. The world's top athletes get to play in these top-level sporting events thanks to one thing: teamwork. And teamwork can also protect your financial legacy and your family's future. SelectQuote licensed insurance agents are the perfect teammates when shopping for customized, affordable life insurance. They can find you the right policy to keep your financial legacy safely in your family's end zone. Other life insurance brokers offer impersonal, one-size-fits-all policies that may cost you more and cover you less, while SelectQuote's licensed insurance agents work for you to tailor a life insurance policy for your individual needs in as little as 15 minutes. Head to SelectQuote.com and a licensed insurance agent will call you right away with the right policy for your life and your budget. Get the right life insurance for you for less at SelectQuote.com/ZABE. Go to SelectQuote.com/ZABE today to get started. That's SelectQuote.com/ZABE. Hiring with Indeed, your search is over. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. Indeed's matching engine leverages over 140 million qualifications and preferences every day, constantly learning from your preferences. The more you use Indeed, the better it gets. Join more than 3.5 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/ ZABE. Just go to Indeed.com/ZABE right now and support our show, saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/ZABE. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed. Army-Navy. Navy absolutely smacks Army up and down the field in a pretty significant upset. The line was 6.5 or 7 in favor of Army, who had the superior season. They were flirting, was Army and Coach Monken, with making the college football playoff, which would have been amazing. But this is a testament to the very simple nature of rivalry games. You really don't know in a rivalry game who's going to have it on a given day, right?
Yeah, and I've been to 3 of these. It's one of the really remarkable sporting events I've ever attended. It's great stuff. But you know what I was thinking about yesterday watching it?
What?
That if Blake Horvath was able to put himself on the open market, which he can't now because he's got the naval commitment.
The quarterback for Navy, who was absolutely scintillating yesterday.
Yeah, he would get $3 million to go to some school right now. And that is the world that we're living in at the moment.
Right.
That he would have that kind of cash and maybe more if he were able to leave, but he's staying at the Naval Academy to fulfill his commitment.
Yeah. Instead, he's going to get a whole nother course load of advanced naval aeronautics and defense systems poured on his head, and he's going to be grinding away for 10 hours a day trying to figure this stuff out, all to serve our country, which is the most inspiring part of this game. So there's so much now with Army-Navy that is great because the game used to be a fixture on the landscape, but it was in a non-high definition, non-highly marketed and presented sports world. And I liken, one of the things that I get into, and I think you are meh on, is the helmets and the uniforms, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you don't
and
really,
they're cool.
They're cool, but you don't really geek out about them like me and Scott Lynn do, right?
I don't collect helmets or anything like that. No,
I know. So I was reading first of all, the helmet designs were, again, off the charts good. And the uniforms, Army, with not just their helmets inspired by the Normandy landing with the card suits on their helmets to designate, okay, who's with what battalion? Are you a part of the Spades or the Hearts or the Diamonds? Mm-hmm. They had fake snow on the shoulders and on the tops of the helmet. Andy, chef's kiss in terms of creative. Even more so, the coaches for Army with their sideline ski hats had fake snow dusting on top of them. I want one of those hats. I need one of those hats with the fake snow.
I'm sure that you could purchase them from Fanatics. I believe they're probably available.
Well, you know what? Sometimes these are sideline gear only, and you cannot buy them, which makes them even more rare, which makes them even more of an expensive collectible. But anyway, so the uniform process now, because they've been doing this for a number of years, is a 2-year run-up that involves high-level security clearances, non-disclosure agreements. Like, it's a big deal, but it helps give the game sizzle and makes it appealing to kids who otherwise might turn their nose up and say, Navy, Army, I don't care. Army, Navy, I don't care about that. You remember what the helmets used to be in this game? They were both gold.
Yeah.
It was gold on gold. That was it. So
somehow it was watchable for me, but okay.
Okay, all right. But my point is, so you have that. You have all these great cameras now that can show what it feels like, because you and I have been to the game thanks to the USAA and Jimmy Shapiro Radio Row promotion they've done with USAA, and Chris Talley, who's with USAA, who's done a great job with this thing. We've gotten to see what it feels like, and high-def cameras and, these spider cams that fly above the field can zoom over and show you the Sing Second tradition where the Naval Academy cadets can gather with the team and sing the fight song, and it brings it home, Andy, in a way that wasn't as available 20, 30, 40 years ago. Do you feel me on that? Do you feel me on how the modern presentation of this game, the technology, is continuing to make it bigger and bigger?
Right. And do you know what technology Army Navy gave us on television?
No.
Okay, you can look this up. In 1963, the game was actually postponed 2 weeks because of the assassination of John Kennedy. But when the game was played in early December, the use of instant replay was unveiled for the first time.
Oh, God.
Yes. Yes, you can look this up. And Jack Whitaker said, because they had the amount, look it up, but they had to bring like 2 extra trucks. And the amount of equipment that and finally they had a play. And Jack Whitaker said, "You're not seeing this play live. This is a play that has happened before, and we're showing it to you now." Yeah.
Wow.
It's amazing. Amazing story.
Yeah. The joy on the faces of the young people, the young men and women who are serving this country and committing to it is truly incredible. And to be able to see that's awesome,
Yeah,
like that,
no question.
That's a very inspiring game. And, the football, I think, is getting less and less unwatchable. Navy's offense was extremely and is extremely creative and complicated. Yes, it's a ton of running, but it's a different kind of ton of running than perhaps option football has been in the past. Would you agree?
Well, I've been watching football since the mid-'60s. I cannot remember a fake punt run by a nose tackle.
Oh,
but,
well, that was great as well. But just their option plays are such that
yeah. It's a great spectacle, and Service Academy football I thought would be hurt tremendously by NIL, and these are the 2 best records these 2 teams have ever had when they played each other.
I don't
know how it happened.
Isn't that funny? Yeah. $3 million for you're right. That kid would get millions of dollars. They're talking about Quinn Ewers may go somewhere else from Texas for upwards of $4 million, but only because Texas is ready to tell him, Quinn, we've had enough. You're good. You're not good enough for what we need. We're ready to move into the Arch Manning era. Arch wouldn't stay for another year to be a backup. So it's that. Well, that's my point. That he's not going to stick around. But also, you can admit, Andy, Quinn Ewers is not quite it.
No, and
right?
But this is the way John Calipari would run his basketball program with the one and dones. You may have a player who's not ready to be one and done, but there's somebody coming behind him, and he's going to be done. That's what it works.
Right. You don't want to be one and done, but we're here to tell you you're done.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we got another 5-star right behind you.
Well, we're quickly on this square. I don't think I've gotten your full react on Belichick taking that Carolina job. We might have tickled it a week ago. That is, it was rumored, but now it happened. Go ahead, Andy, unload.
Do you rule out the possibility of, on a napkin, I reside as HC of UNC?
No, because you probably saw what I saw.
Yep.
His buyout drops from $10 million to $1 million on June 1st, 2025.
Before he ever coaches a game. But it's unlikely that a team would hire a coach after June 1st. But if the buyout's only $10 million, that's not going to sway an NFL team. That's nothing.
No, but I also read one quote, I think it was from Albert Breer's reporting, that said it might have been Seth Wickersham's reporting from ESPN, that according to close Belichick confidants, this move represents a giant FU to the NFL and the politics of their coaching searches, because he had to go hat in hand, busting open parking meters last offseason like Donnie Brasco, begging for a job, ordering Chick-fil-A in the Atlanta airport as he goes to beg for the Falcons job only to not get it. Like he's chopped liver. Like, 6 rings, who cares? We want somebody else.
But it was well known that he hated Woody Johnson. He ripped Woody Johnson on the Manning cast.
Right.
Yet he reached out just to see if it was possible to work for Woody Johnson.
Well, I think he did that. He let it be known that he reached out to the Jets. They were not interested. As a way to tweak Jet fans, because Jet fans know he would be a way better coach for them, for whoever they end up hiring full time. So it was like one last dig by Belichick to the Jets. See, here's my other theory on this. So, yes, you're right. He hates Woody Johnson, and rightfully so. He also doesn't – he's too old at this point to be dealing with a billionaire. He don't want to report to a fucking billionaire who all have their own dumb ideas about we should do this, we should do that, let's draft this guy. And billionaires stick together. That's why nobody hired him last cycle. Because the billionaires all talk to each other like, yeah, how's Belichick? Oh, he's an asshole. He won't let you play with your toy, which is the same dynamic as you and I saw with who?
Danny Snyder,
When Marty came in.
Yep.
Tell people the story of us at the team store at Tyson's Corner during a break off air, what you were told. By whom?
Wait a minute, I'm not
was this
familiar
not,
with it.
What interview was it where off the air, Snyder's right-hand man told us and Larry Weissman, when Marty came in, he told us to sit in the corner. We couldn't do anything. It was no fun.
No.
Quote, we weren't having any fun was the exact quote when Marty was in.
This is Larry Weissman who was told this by people. And before he went to work for the team. Yes, that
Fred Drasner, was it? His main business partner?
But see, Drasner was told by Marty, you can't even show up at the facility.
Right.
He was a part owner of the team.
Right.
And see what Danny did, he was just so anxious because, that was after his first year or second year, after he'd fired Norv.
Right.
And they said, you've got to hire Marty. So he was willing to do anything Marty said at the beginning. And then after 5 games when they were 0-5, he wasn't ready to do that anymore. That's when he started looking for Steve Spurrier or trying to schmooze Spurrier.
Yeah,
right?
let me bundle this up. So Larry Weissman, who at the time was reporting for USA Today, said that when Marty came in, he basically told everyone in the ownership level of the team, stay the fuck away. I know what I'm doing. And told some guys like Drasner, who is not the owner but a minority guy, don't even come here because I don't want your influence in the building. And so when they fired Marty after just one season, after the team rallied from 0-5 to an 8-8 finish, and everyone was like, why'd you fire Marty? It was just starting to get cooking. It's only been 1 year. The answer from Drasner to Larry was, quote, we weren't having any fun.
Right.
And the we meaning him and Danny.
He wanted to be general manager again. And Marty said, that's fine. But the deal that we made was I have control of everything. And there's a bite from the opening news conference. He called him Daniel. He's the only one who ever called him Daniel. Others called him Dan. Some called him Mr. Snyder. But he said, if Daniel and I have a disagreement, we go with what I want to do. Isn't that right, Daniel? And he says, yes.
Yeah. Well, I think that is part of what drove Belichick to North Carolina. Yeah. The whole angle of his dad once coaching there, and I don't buy any of that shit. It was a juicy job. It was a underperforming power conference D1 job that has a lot of upside. That I think he realized, fuck it, let's go do this. Plus, he's 72.
He's 72, but I do believe he still wants the Shula record.
Oh, you do?
And yes, and this may not be an apt comparison, but Bill Walsh was longtime offensive coordinator for the Cincinnati Bengals when Paul Brown was the owner and the head coach. Finally, Paul Brown retired in 1978, and instead of giving it to Walsh, he gave it to Bill Tiger Johnson. And Walsh said, the only way I'm going to become a head coach is if I'm a head coach. And he went to Stanford for 3 years, was a head coach, and that's how he got the 49er job. So Belichick could do what Cignetti has done at Indiana, make himself very attractive for NFL owners, and get back in the league in 2026.
Yeah. All right, Caitlyn Clark wins the Time Magazine. Didn't know they were still publishing, by the way. I thought they were bankrupt. The Time Magazine Athlete of the Year. It's a wonderful thing for a league that has been losing money every single year of its 26-year existence. It should be one of those things where the league says, you know what, this is great. We love her so much. She even made steps towards reconciliation with the underlying racial tension of the 70% black makeup of the league itself. And so everything should have been fine. And maybe it was for 24 hours. And then Sheila Johnson, the owner of the Mystics, decides to go on TV and say they should have given the award to the entire league. Here is Sheila Johnson, then we'll react after this.
Taken the WNBA almost 28 years to get to the point where we are now. And this year, something clicked with the WNBA, and it's because of the draft of the players that came in. It's just not Caitlyn Clark. It's Reese. We have so much talent out there that has been unrecognized. And I don't think we can just pin it on one player.
There has been, this fresh.
I mean, whoa.
No, Sheila. No. You can pin it on one. Yes, it's that one. That's it. And the other players, including Reese, Angel Reese, she is a foil for Caitlyn Clark.
Right.
That's part of the story, but the story is Caitlyn Clark, and they did put the league on the cover. It's called Caitlyn Clark.
That's the league.
God.
You know, this was a clunker of an interview when Christine Brennan, our friend and former colleague, Aunt B, as we call her, has to go on TV and say, I know Sheila, she's wonderful. She does all these philanthropic things, but I have no idea why she would say something like that. When Christine Brennan says that, woof, you've dropped an airball.
And Caitlyn Clark threw Christine under the bus, too.
What did she say?
She said, the interview that she did with the player who poked Caitlyn Clark in the eye.
Oh, right.
Okay, it may have been accidental, but as a journalist, doing your
Carrington.
job. Yeah, that's her name. That Christine asked her whether it was on purpose or not, and she didn't go crazy over it, but the league did. And then Caitlyn Clark, in this interview with Time, said it was inappropriate for her to ask the question. No, it wasn't. Now, I don't know what that's going to do for the book that Christine is writing about Caitlyn Clark.
It's good. It's all good for the book. Any controversy, any sizzle, any grist for the mill is good for the book. Yeah, Christine's hooked into a nice moneymaker for her. Best one since the Nancy Kerrigan, Tanya Harding days.
Yeah, I agree.
But I love the community note when, Sheila Johnson, something clicked this year at the league.
Yeah, it's called Caitlyn Clark. Yeah.
I can't put my finger on it. Something clicked. The community notes on Twitter says 31% of the Mystics' total home attendance for the entire 2024 season came from the two games versus Caitlyn Clark and the Fever. So don't say it's not just one person. Someone said that the ultimate revenge, if Caitlyn Clark wanted to go heel, which it's clear that she apparently does not want to go heel, but if she wanted to, she could just say, not sure I'm going to be feeling Zion for those two games at the Mystics this year. That would hit Sheila Johnson in the pocketbook, but I don't think she really cares because she got half her money from Bob Johnson, who founded BET, and then married the judge who presided over their divorce. Are you aware of that?
No, I'm not.
Oh,
but that
yeah.
Surprised me. And the WNBA, they only play 28 games or something like that. So
right.
I don't think you really take games off for load management.
Well, it doesn't matter. Just say you got an ankle injury. Like if you really, they moved the two Caitlyn Clark games from the 4,000 seat mini arena for the Mystics to the 20,000 seat MCI, the 20,000 seat Capital One Center. Is it still Capital One?
Yeah, but I don't know if they can do that this year because they're renovating, so they may have to move it to like George Mason or someplace.
Or probably
maybe
play at FedEx Field and still sell it out.
Yeah,
but the Mystics weren't selling out their 4,000 seat gym. They moved her two games to the 20,000 seat arena, and they sold them both out in hours. Hours. It's unbelievable.
It's boys and girls wearing 22 jerseys. That's the way it works, Sheila. That is the league. That's who it is.
I believe social researchers will study this whole phenomenon with Caitlyn Clark and women and sports and just try to draw all kinds of understanding from it because it's easily the best thing that's happened to a league that needed something good to happen for it.
Right.
And they are fucking it up relentlessly at every turn. It's remarkable.
The jealousy is beyond belief.
It is
really
bad.
is.
It is bad.
Yeah.
And it's just different than the way men's sports works. But anyway, what did you make of Caitlyn Clark's very revealing silk thin dress?
Well, I mean, she's in wonderful shape. She's a very attractive woman, and why not? Why not show off your body like that?
It wasn't on brand though. That's what a lot of people said. They're like,
what's
now
the brand? Is there brand restrictions?
Well, smartass. The brand is Iowa Simple, Iowa Pure. That's the brand. That dress did not fit Caitlyn Clark's brand for whatever it's worth. I also looked at it like, God, how does that stay attached to your body? Like, it's so thin and willowy, and it plunges way down. It was showing so much skin. But anyway.
Well, she is, she's 6 feet tall. Because she plays with tall women, she doesn't look them. She's 6. She's a large, tall woman.
Yeah, well, the other players in the WNBA are leaning into the fashion aspect of it, and they're making sure that their walk-ins to the arenas in their sexy fashion is gone viral on social media, and I am here for it, especially in the case of Kelsey Plum of the Vegas Aces.
Rising tide lifts all boats. Way to go, Caitlyn.
Right. The rising tide lifts all boats, and meanwhile, Sheila Johnson and the other WNBA owners are punching holes in the boat as we speak.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, today's NFL slate is an absolute blockbuster. That's why we recorded early. There's no way. There's 5 games in the late window, including the game of the year, Bills and Lions. That ticket today, Andy, is the highest get-in price ticket of the year in the league.
Really? What is it? Do you know?
A lot. More than you would pay, my friend.
Especially for that game, yeah.
Right. And your Commanders play the Saints down in the Bayou. Echoes of when RG3 had his breakout game against them in 2012 on the road at the Superdome. Can Jaden Daniels do the same thing today?
Yeah, he's playing a backup quarterback who doesn't have any weapons. Everybody's hurt. If he doesn't do well today, there's a problem. That, by the way, it's a lot different. That was RG3's first game, and we hadn't seen the pistol yet.
I know.
That was a totally different circumstance.
Well, you're right. And we've already seen Jaden Daniels. Every team uses the pistol and RPOs and zone reads. I get that, but still, there's a little echo there. That's all. I thought about Jaden Daniels going to New Orleans and thinking, I remember that first game for RG3 down there. What a phenomenon that was, right?
Well, you know who'd like to hear the echo? Mr. RG3, who, by the way, is going to be part of like 22 people who are going to do these Christmas Day games on Netflix.
Yeah.
Mark my words, he will be the one wearing a Santa suit. Nobody will seek out the attention more than he will.
Yeah. Do you buy Netflix?
I have Netflix, yes.
Okay. Yeah. Well, our bill for Netflix is going up because, like I said, that list of contributors for their games looks like a Carol Burnett special from the 70s.
Yeah.
It's got everybody.
It's like the We Are the World of NFL announcers.
Right. Exactly. All right, Andy, as always, a pleasure, my friend. Enjoy the football today. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Or next week.
Dave.
All right, see you. There you go. As the leaves turn and the air gets crisp, it is time for some serious action. Bet on Lord football, from heart-pounding college rivalries to the bone-crushing NFL matchups. But that's not all. The ice is getting cold and the courts are heating up. Get in on the NHL face-off and NBA tip-offs as both leagues kick off their seasons. And if you want to get really nuts, bet on the election. Won't that be fun? If you've been waiting for the right time to get in, the time is now. Make your winning move today. Sign up at mybookie.ag. Use promo code ZABE, Charlie, Zulu, Alpha, Bravo, Echo, to be eligible for all promotions. Once again, promo code ZABE to get in on the sweet action. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.